What is going on, fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money on the Trainer podcast. It's your boy, Brian Mark. And in today's episode, we're talking about the best investment I have ever made. Now, before I get into today's podcast, there's a bunch of things that you could spend your money on, right? Like you could invest your money in Bitcoin. You could invest your money in real estate. You could invest your money in stocks. You could invest your money in NFTs. There's literally thousands of things that you could invest your money in. And that's on the good side. On the downside, you can also invest your money on fucking eating out every week. You can invest your money on liquor. You can invest your money on, smoking weed all the time. You can invest your money on drugs. Listen, there's endless amounts of places for you to spend your money. And like money makes the world go around, baby. Like this is the fucking planet that we live on. Like we live in an economy where you need money. And so with all of these fucking things that you could be spending your money on and all of these things you could be investing your money in, what is the single best investment that you could make? That's a good fucking question. And I'm going to talk about the single best investment that I've ever made. I'm going to talk about an investment that has made me over $25 million. All right. This investment has made me over $25 million in the last 6 years. And this investment is so fucking simple and so easy to execute on. But the reason that people don't do it is because they don't see a direct ROI in terms of how much you actually get back from that investment. And so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story. So right now I am on a trip and I'm doing like this cross Canada tour with my mentor, Dan Martell. And so my mentor, Dan Martell, is doing this, like, it's called like a jet set program where basically you come on the jet with Dan and then you get to go to different cities with Dan Martell and you get to watch him do his keynote. You get to watch him do his book signings. You get to sit on this jet and have conversations with him. And you basically get to spend 3 days with Dan. Fucking great. And so I've worked with Dan Martell now for the last like year and a half on and off. Like he's always kind of been like a mentor in my corner. Like he lives in Kelowna. I live in Kelowna. My wife and his wife are like really good friends. So, once in a while we'll go for dinner, whatever. But he invited me on this jet mastermind. And immediately I was like 100% fucking, I'm all in, like send me the fucking link, like sign me up. And the amount of value that I've gotten in the last 3 days is worth 5 years of me trying to figure this shit out on my own. The amount of value that I've got in the last 3 days is more than I would have learned in the next 5 years of doing this on my own. Like yesterday on the fucking jet, I'm talking to Dan. I'm like, this is the thing. And I'm going to talk about this in a second. I don't need a lot. Like we're popping right now at Pizza Domination. The business is fucking popping. Instagram's popping. YouTube's popping. Podcast is the best it's ever been. Everything is in momentum. And so when I thought about whether or not I wanted to go on the jet, I'm like, I don't really have any fucking questions because shit's fucking popping. But I went on the jet and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you what made me make the decision to say yes automatically and why I always say yes automatically. Now, you guys, I've made like $25 million in the last fucking 6 years. And I'll tell you, like, I've invested probably, I would say about 1.5 million in real estate. So like one of my biggest investments has been real estate. I have 2 homes, one house in the Dominican, one house in Kelowna, but that's just like living expenses. And I don't really view real estate as like one of my real estate providers is like an Airbnb. So it ends up like actually bringing positive cash flow on a monthly basis. I've also spent about 200 grand on the crypto market. And that has definitely provided me with a little bit of an ROI. And I'm really grateful for the ROI that's coming from the crypto market. But in the last 5 years, I've spent close to $500,000 on mentorship. And I'm going to tell you what the best investment you could ever make is investment in osmosis. The best investment you could ever make is investment in osmosis. It's motherfucking osmosis. Fuck am I talking about? What's osmosis? What are you talking about? You're talking crazy. What do you mean osmosis? I'll tell you what osmosis means. Osmosis means monkey see, monkey do. Osmosis means being in the environment because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Osmosis means I'm watching how you move. I'm watching how you act. I'm watching how you think. I'm watching how you interact. I'm watching how you show up. I'm watching what your habits look like. I'm watching what your energy's like. I'm literally absorbing. I go and I'm like a fucking sponge. I literally go with like the most open mind that I possibly could. And then I just fucking sit there and I'm just like fucking observing. I don't even have a question most of the time. I'm just fucking observing. I'm watching how he moves. I'm watching how he thinks. I'm watching how he talks. I'm watching how he acts so that I can learn through observation how it's possible to live an expanded life. Because this is the thing, right? There's people like Richard Branson on this planet. Richard Branson has 400 companies underneath Virgin. Dan Martell gets mentored by people like Richard Branson. So Dan Martell is going to somebody like Richard Branson so that Dan can expand. He wants to expand. He wants to expand his capacity, expand what's possible, expand what he's capable of. Dan is getting mentored by guys like Ed Mylett. Ed Mylett is one of the greatest motivational speakers of all time. And so somebody like Dan, who's on the come up, gets mentored by Ed Mylett because Ed Mylett can see things in Dan and he can call things out. And Dan can also learn through osmosis about how he moves. Dan and I were talking about this the other day in the jet. How fucking cool of a sentence is that? What the fuck? And he was like, dude, he's like, so I spoke about my belief in osmosis. And then I heard Dan speaking about osmosis to somebody else. And Dan's like, I'm the same way. He's like when I do like jet set masterminds, when I'm flying around doing keynote speeches, he's like, if I'm ever really close to something that's like the best, like he's like, let's say I'm flying over a city that's known for having the best manufacturing company for a certain product. He's like, I'm going to go there and I'm going to pay attention to what the labels say. I'm going to pay attention to how people work. I'm going to pay attention to the standard operating procedures. I'm going to ask people questions. I'm going to absorb. I'm just going to go there and I'm going to absorb. He's like, that's the plan with First Form. He's like, the next time I fly close to First Form, I plan on stopping at the facility to take a look at how things move and ask questions and talk to the employees, get a feel for the culture, get a feel for the standard, to learn through osmosis. Guys, this is the thing. Sometimes it's what's taught, but for me, it's always about what's caught. Like, yeah, there's definitely like, in terms of like the business implementation systems that I learned from Dan, there's definitely some things that I learned from Dan that like fucking changed my business forever. Don't get me wrong. But the biggest thing that I learned from Dan is the permission to play at a new level because I'm watching how he moves. The best investment I have ever made has always been in osmosis. And right now I'm on this fucking jet set mastermind. So it's really easy for me to talk about this specific instance. But it was the exact same thing when I met Bedros. Bedros was $100,000 for fucking 12 months of coaching. And the reason I paid that is I wanted osmosis. I wanted to go to his office. I wanted to see what his studio looked like. I wanted to see how he thought. I wanted to see how he acted. I wanted to see how he handled, sales. I wanted to see how he handled his VIP program. Osmosis. Adley Kinsman is literally the most viral girl on the fucking internet. Like, I think she gets billions of views on a monthly basis. Billions with a B. It's funny when people say that. Lane Norton says he hates when people say billions with a B. Billions with a B. And the reason I paid Adley $100,000 for 6 months, osmosis. I'm like, I want to be in the same fucking Zoom call with you. And I want to see how you think, see how you act, see how you move, see how you talk, observe. I want to pay attention to how you move through the world. Because if I can absorb some of the mindsets, some of the habits, some of the rituals, some of the thought patterns, some of the beliefs that you have, then that means I am going to adopt those in my own life and I am going to be able to transfer those to my people. It's osmosis. The best investment I have ever made in my entire life is exposing myself to people that are at a higher level than me. And this is the thing. It would be fucking awesome if I could just walk up to Gary Vaynerchuk and say, hey, bro, can we sit down and have a chat? But Gary Vaynerchuk is fucking busy. He's running a $100 million a year company. I don't know what the fuck it is. So I can't just waltz into fucking Gary V's office and say, hey, bro, my name's Brian. Osmosis. Can we fucking hang out? That's not how life works, right? Like Gary V is at an elevated position and his time is worth a certain dollar amount based on how much money his business makes. And so if I want to get Gary Vaynerchuk's attention, I need to pay for it. That's how it fucking works. Why would he spend one-on-one time with me when he's making fucking hundreds of millions of dollars at his other business? And like, that's the purpose of mentorship, right? The purpose of mentorship is to find people that are actually doing the fucking thing that you want to do. And then understanding that the reason that you look up to them is because they are successful, because they are more advanced in a chosen field, understanding that if you learn the same things that they know, then you will be able to implement that in your own life. And you can't expect it for free because If somebody had the time to give you a bunch of free time, they probably aren't somebody worth learning from because they're not very busy. A busy person that's making money is focusing on making money, serving his clients, leveling up their business, etc. So if you want their attention, if you want their time, if you want their energy, you have to invest. And like, guys, every fucking investment I've ever made in a mentor gave me the gift of osmosis. And through the gift of osmosis, I became a better person. And some of the mentors that I've hired were shit. I'm not going to lie. Some of them sucked. But even the ones that sucked, through the exposure of the community, through seeing what's actually possible, through seeing what some other people are doing, I realized, holy fuck, if these people are doing it, they're not fucking different than me. It's not like Joe Blow that just stood up and said he's making $100,000 a month, is better looking, more talented, more jacked, whatever. I'm like, I look better than that fucking dude, and he's making $100,000 a month. What the fuck, right? That's osmosis. Same thing. I joined Tacky Moore's coaching program. It cost me 48 grand for the year to do Tacky's coaching program. And when I joined Tacky's coaching program, I got introduced to a group of individuals that were doing between $1 million and $3 million a month. And at the time I was making $100,000 a month. So I was like, I fucking go into this group and people are like, just hit 300K, just hit 500K, just hit $1 million, just hit fucking 3 million. And I'm like sitting there like, what the fuck? Like what? Like what? But osmosis. I go there. I fucking turn my brain off. I turn off my limiting beliefs. I turn off my internal chatter. I turn off my thoughts. I go there like a sponge and I fucking got my eyes open, my fucking notepad out and fucking taking notes. I'm like paying attention to something that resonates with me. I'm like, oh, that's a belief I want to adopt. Thank you for that. And then as I start adopting the mindsets, the beliefs, the habits, the rituals, the step-by-step processes that these people are talking about, all of a sudden, I start executing on those things. And because I start executing on those things, I start getting better results. My business starts making more money. And then it comes to a point, and then it came to a point with Tacky's program where I'm like, yo, I'm one of the top earners in the room right now. I was like, I came in at $100,000 a month. I'm fucking graduating at $1 million a month. I was like, holy fuck. And it's because of osmosis. I go there with the intention of fucking observation. I go there with the intention of taking notes, asking questions, being a student, and fucking absorbing. And when you think about the fact that I was a fucking dude that was sleeping on my grandmother's trailer, addicted to drugs 11 years ago, and now I'm a dude that flies around on a private jet with the best-selling author, and that happened in 11 years, that's pretty fucked up, right? And real estate didn't give me that because real estate didn't develop my skills. Bitcoin didn't give me that because Bitcoin didn't develop my skills. You guys get this? Stocks didn't give me that. Investing in Tesla didn't give me the skills. It might have given me more money, but it didn't give me fucking access to Dan Martell, an opportunity to sit down with him on a jet and ask him questions, an opportunity to pick his brain. Cause like, dude, like I have goals in my life that like everything's amazing right now. Like we're making $1 million a month. Business is crushing. It's the best it's ever been. So I'm like, everything's good, but I need to expand. I need to grow. I need to expand my capacity because I know there's a bunch of my clients like Trent Harrison who are making $150,000, $200,000 a month. And if I want to keep clients like Trent Harrison, then I need to keep fucking growing. Otherwise, he's going to outgrow me and he's going to find somebody else. And I'll never let that happen. And so I need to keep myself expanding so that I can keep giving value to my clients so I can keep fucking learning. And so my next level looks like I'm going to fucking write a best-selling book. I'm telling you guys, I'm writing a fucking book. And so on the jet, I literally get to sit down. I fucking paid to be in the room. And while I'm on the jet, I got some fucking questions for Dan. I'm like, how'd you write a best-selling book? Like, who do I need to know? What's step 1? What's step 2? What's step 3? Like that shit, like go Google that and see how long it takes you to find that out, right? Like, and find out from a credible source that has actually fucking done it. Email a best-selling author and see if they reply. You know what I mean? Like I get that fucking access because I paid, because I invested. I literally get to get my questions answered. Bam, have a question, bam, right there. I'm like, there's a solution. And he introduced me to his agent that wrote his book or that fucking published his book. Now I have a call with this agent tomorrow. I don't get that unless I invest in osmosis. I don't get that unless I invest in osmosis. So if you're listening to this right now and you've got money in the bank and you're wondering what to do with it, you're wondering how to spend it, you're wondering what the best investment for your ROI is, it's always osmosis. Osmosis. Anytime Dan Martell asks me to do something, yep. Want to do 6 months of VIP with me? Yep. You want to get on a private jet with me and fly around? Yep. I didn't even fucking ask how much it costs. I was like, yes, fucking sign me up. Send me a payment, like, bam, pay for it. Well, didn't even think. He's doing a social media summit in Kelowna in a month. He's like, you want to come? Bring your team? I was like, yep, 100%. Didn't even ask about the cost. Yep, I'm in. Osmosis. I just want to fucking be around him. So when Dan Martell does something, I fucking do it. When I have a mentor that has a thing, I go. Osmosis. I want to absorb. I want to learn. I just want to be around somebody that has an elevated perspective in the skill or the lifestyle that I'm trying to develop. And I just want to be a fucking sponge. The best investment I have ever made in my entire life, and I will continue to make it over and over and over and over and over again, is osmosis. Here's who you should invest in. You should invest in somebody that is growing, because then you can always learn from them. You should invest in somebody that you are inspired by, whether that be their energy, their passion, their content, whatever. And you should invest in somebody that you trust and somebody that has been doing this for a long fucking time. Because if you can do those things, if you can find somebody who's growing, somebody that you can trust, somebody that's consistent, then that means you're always going to be able to learn from them. And that's the ultimate goal. Like, I think Dan Martell will likely be one of my mentors for the rest of my life. I told him on the jet the other day, I was like, just so you know, like, my goal is to pass you. He's like, you shouldn't be chasing me. I was like, I know, but I'm still trying. like my goal is to pass you. And I, like, to be honest, like, Dan Martell's a fucking G. And he's got that mindset where, like, he's dialed in right now. He's locked in. And so, like, I've got somebody that I can always learn from. And my hope is that I can always be that person for my clients. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have the best day of your fucking life. And I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.